What have you learnt from your audience feedback? So throughout this A2 process of making my promotional package, I had multiple times when I did audience feedback, I got audience feedback. Various questionnaires on paper, so in person I'd go up to the people and say, could you please pick which magazine cover you preferred. I also did an interview, so I asked 2 people at once different questions on my rough cut and I filmed it. So therefore I engaged through my target audience at various points through post-production. After completing my 3 main products, to get some final feedback, I created a questionnaire on SurveyMonkey, which you can see below, the link is below if you want to check that out. I decided to do a selection of my target audience, so I'd never ask someone who wasn't in my target audience. As a reminder, my target audience is teenagers and young adults. I believe this is the most appropriate, instead of doing, say, just a cross-section of society or a niche market, as it enables me to receive feedback from a selection of people that I'm aiming it at. Therefore, all of their feedback is of high value and it's of relevance to me. Only appropriate information was collected. I did a mixture of females and males. I interviewed 4 media students for one of my rough cuts for feedback on it, so a technical analysis was offered on this rough cut, so it allowed me to improve it further technically. Mainly 17 to 18-year-olds were interviewed, with the exception of some 20-plus-year-olds. Therefore, different opinions may have been present for, say, 13 to 16-year-olds. As well as this, a larger cross-section of my target audience probably would have provided me with more accurate, reliable and justified results. As well as this, a lot of the time I tended to ask my friends, and they might have been subjective and they might not have wanted to offend me. More contact with my target audience probably could have been done, I think, overall, say, on each draft instead of just certain drafts. Audience feedback allowed further development of my project to occur with the secure knowledge of me knowing that the improvements I am making are for the better, as they are what the majority of my target audience wants. Quite a bit later on in my production, I got feedback on the classification of my film. I decided that it should be a 12, however I was advised to maybe ask my target audience what they thought. Therefore I asked them whether they think it should be a PG, 12 and 15, and I sent them the link of my final trailer. From this I produced a table and chart, and it confirmed my choice of a 12. Even though there were some people who opposed this idea, the majority believed that 12 was the right thing. In terms of just the trailer itself, a long time ago back in February I did a title questionnaire. This was before the element of romance was added to my trailer, so it was really helpful when I was just focusing on a drama tragedy trailer, because it allowed me to pick the font that I wanted then. However, since then, with the romance element added, I did have to change the font. As well as this, a long time ago as well, my very first rough cut before the romance was added, I got verbal feedback. I wrote that all up. I then got some more verbal feedback when I did my first rough cut with the romance added. Later on for another rough cut, I asked for media students, as I previously mentioned, which you can see here. That was really good, as I said before, because they were media students. In terms of my magazine cover, I handed out a questionnaire with 7 questions on it, and I asked 5 members of my target audience to answer the questions. I also did another questionnaire which showed variations of a certain draft of my magazine cover, and they picked which one they preferred. This was really useful because I could see what kind of things the target audience didn't want and what things really appealed to them. So for my poster, I asked my target audience which layout they preferred, because I started with 2 different layouts, and it was really clear which one they did, so this is really useful for me because I could kind of not think about one of them and focus on the other one. And improve that one. After the improvement of that poster, I handed out a 7-question questionnaire on one of the drafts, which enabled me to further improve it. As I mentioned before, I decided to do a final questionnaire on my promotional package via a website called SurveyMonkey. This website was really useful because it had a lot of tools, so I could do different kinds of questions, and it enabled me to look at the results at the end and see them in different ways. I asked 50% male, 50% female. Overall, there were 20 people that I asked. They were all part of my target audience. 80% of them were 17 to 19-year-olds, and 20% were 20 plus. I asked them to rate each product on whether it was excellent, good, alright, and this further decreased, so like poor, very poor. 60% of them believed the trailer was excellent, 35% good, 5% alright. 55% believed my poster was excellent and 45% good. 60% believe my magazine cover was excellent and 40% good. This showed that my trailer and magazine cover were the strongest in terms of whether they were excellent or not, but my poster was only a little way behind by 5%. I also asked if they rejected any of the information in the trailer due to any of their own values. One person did, and this was 5%. However, most of them did not, so it was 80%, so it shows that, all the information is something that my target audience would take on board and wouldn't just brush aside. I also asked my target audience which product they preferred the most, and 60% of them said the trailer. This was clear that that was easily the most liked product of my promotional package. Thinking about Stuart Hall's reception theory, this is about encoding and decoding and how different members of your target audience or anyone may see media differently. Question 5 allowed me to see if my target audience had different readings of the same code, which was my media product. I asked them what genre they felt the trailer was. There were 5 different answers to this question that I didn't write out myself, people just wrote completely themselves. 4 people said it was a drama romance, 2 people said it was a tragedy romantic drama, 3 people said it was romantic, 2 people said tragedy romance, and 1 person said drama/coming of age. Therefore, this shows that most of my target audience are dominant/preferred, as they have decoded it in a way that I've wanted them to. However, some have negotiated, as they've rejected one aspect of the genre, i.e. drama romance rejects the tragedy aspect. Also, looking at different demographic groups, one of the questions I asked was whether they rejected any of the information in the trailer for their own reasons, political, cultural, or ideological. 1 female rejected this for her own reason, and I don't see this as a negative thing, I see it as a positive thing, because it therefore backs up that the audience I have targeted and aimed at are ones with active minds, and this therefore disagrees with the hypodermic needle model, because the audience are active and aren't just taking in any media, they're making up their own decisions about it, which is what I intended from the start. So overall, feedback is incredibly important for me as a filmmaker. It enables me to see the product that I've created from a different perspective. From this, I can then go on to improve it if I feel that the feedback is justified and is something that I want to improve on. Thank you very much for listening. I hope that answers the question.